Do you think you are honing your intuitive skills by thinking hard? Well, you just might want to rethink that. Have you ever heard the term that you just need to take a good, hard look at your life? Well, in this video, I'm going to be talking about that in regards to intuition. And I might just get you to turn that thinking around to say, nope, I'm not going to take a good, hard look at my life because it just might steer me the wrong way. So I'm going to tell you about how my work with horses helped steer me in a greater level of clarity with my clairvoyant sight. And I think that you're going to be able to walk away from this video with some new ways of looking and exploring ways that are a lot more expansive to help you develop your intuitive senses even more. So do you see your life through hard eyes or do you see your life through soft eyes? When you're looking at your world and your life within that world, are you looking at your life from a really contracted, stressful place? Or are you looking at your life in a relaxed, expanded state? So this soft eyes, hard eyes concept shouldn't be a stranger to any of you who are really into working with horses and horsemanship, because there's a woman by the name of Sally Swift, and I'm sure that she is not the only one that teaches about this, but she did develop the concept of centered riding concepts that really teaches a lot about that concept of looking at life through hard eyes and looking at life through soft eyes. So it was actually a horse that taught me a lot about this perspective about how I view life from that kind of hardened, focused way, or going that expansive, soft way. In a workshop that was taught by my friend about 10 years ago. Horses can be incredible teachers because of their high level sensitivities to their environment. And so they can be really sensitive to maybe help you to know how you're feeling, even when you don't know how you're feeling. Learning to become intuitively sensitive can require a lot of practice to really tune into your own hypersensitivity so that you can pick up on those really intuitive, subtle cues about what you might be missing at the human level, but at the spiritual level, at that sensitive level, your spirit is sending you all kinds of messages. By nature, horses are considered prey animals. And a lion would be like a predator, or a wolf would be a predator. So horses as prey animals mean that they are highly likely to be the ones to maybe get into danger or get attacked by another animal. So their eyes are on the side of their head so that they can look really in all directions, so that if they sense something's coming, then they might be able to see that something's coming, and then they'll be able to take care of themselves. So with us as humans, at times you probably feel like you're a human who tends to lean more on the prey side. And often then we end up having people in our life that are the predators. And I'm just saying, like the bullies and the passive and the really direct people. But with horses, they're very sensitive, and they're sensitive because they are prey animals, and they're highly, highly sensitive to the feelings and the emotions and the thoughts of us humans around them. And in the human energy field, you can literally have your regular eyes, human eyes, facing forward, but all around your sixth chakra. They call it the third eye, but in actuality, you can be seeing energetically all the way around to help keep yourself safe. And I know when I've been working with clients, there have been those times where, yep, I can see that they're looking forward. But when I look in the back, I can see these energetic eyes in the back. Have you ever heard the term, I've got eyes in the back of their head, or mom's got eyes in the back of her head, or, our friend has eyes in the back of her head. She doesn't miss anything, or he doesn't miss anything. Well, that's what they mean, that we can kind of see what's going on without actually seeing what's going on. So, what is this concept that Sally Swift taught about hard eyes and soft eyes? Looking at things from a state of hard, focused eyes or relaxed, expansive state of soft eyes. So, hard eyes is where you take a really good, hard look at something and you're really staring at it with all of your focus. So, in preparation for this video, that's what I did. I found a book sitting on a shelf. And I'm going to encourage you all to do the same thing. While I'm talking about it, look around the room that you're in, find an item that you want to focus on. So I chose a book that was sitting on the shelf, and so I went to focus on it, and then I set my intention to focus harder on it and harder on it. Now, working as a psychic clairvoyant, my nature is to see the bigger picture, or I'm kind of tuned into the bigger picture at all times. So literally I could feel my whole energy field pulling in, pulling in, pulling in, focusing, pulling in, focusing, pulling in, focusing. Then what I noticed was my whole entire aura started pulling in. I started to feel really contracted and tense. Maybe my body was feeling a little bit stressed. Like it was taking a lot of energy. I felt like I was like one of those muscle people, where it's like, woo, where you're just like really, really, really tensing up your muscles so that they bulge. And so looking at that book from hard eyes was exactly what I was doing to practice. So I encourage all of you, you can pause this video and practice right now, and then I will talk about soft eyes. Then I began to notice that as I continued to focus in on that one little area, I felt myself kind of pull away from my connection to the divine. I pulled out of that grounded state, and I was putting all of my energy into a mental focused state. So I really had minimal information available to me. So let me just take a look at my notes. So basically what I was finding was I'm only able to focus on one small area, that book, and just that very small area around the book. And so then it would be like you having the knowledge of having a bachelor's degree at the university level, and yet you're only focusing on the small little area like your what you learned in kindergarten, so it's like I've got this much knowledge, but I'm so hyper focused on this one thing. It's like I only have access to what I might have access to as a kindergartner. But one of my favorite things that I share a lot, what was this other thing I wanted to say? Or only being able to sense a 3x3 square foot spot on the ground. So you're focusing on this little piece on the ground, and you can't see that you're standing in a field that's actually 10 acres big. So and then one of my favorites is the picnic table. So I always tell my students, I give this analogy. It's like you are at a picnic and everybody has brought, the fried chicken, the apple pie, the potato salad or scallop potatoes, or what else? Like cakes, pies, biscuits, I don't know, whatever you want to name. It's a lot of good food. And then it's like you're pressing your nose right on in the middle of the picnic table. So imagine that you've got your nose pressed against that, usually as a red and white tablecloth, and you've got your nose really pressed down, that you can't see all the food that's available on this 12-foot long table. You can only see what's right in front of your nose when you're over focusing in a small, small area. You just can't see all the delicious foods that are available to you. By over focusing on an item, you can create your own tension and stress at a pretty big level. Now, soft eyes are when you relax your gaze, where you become more expansive, where it's more dreamy like when you open up to your awareness around you. Opening up your vision is very relaxing to your body. Do you remember what it was like sitting in school and you're just kind of looking out the window and you've lost time and space, and maybe you can't even hear the teacher talking anymore and you wondered where you went? That was that really kind of dreamy state of expansion. Really, it felt really good and it felt very relaxing. So according to Swift, you have what's called tunnel vision. You can have tunnel vision, that's the hard eyes, then you're focusing on the details of the parts of your vision. And when you're staring off into space, like daydreaming, you only have your vision in the peripheral, which is again part of your vision. So you kind of need both of them. So now I'm going to ask you to stare at the item again that you were staring at with hard eyes, but this time soften the gaze of the item while also gazing at everything around you. So like, for example, I'm looking at the camera, and as I'm looking at the camera, rather than just focusing only on the camera, I'm allowing myself to see the camera, but at the same time, I'm able to see this back wall behind me. I can't see directly in back of me, but I can see kind of around me. So that peripheral vision really opens up while I'm focused on the one item of the camera. So go ahead and pause the video, focus on the item you've been focusing on, and see if you can see and sense that peripheral vision at the same time. So when you can focus on details and expansiveness at the same time with your eyes open, that is using your clairvoyant sight, your clarity sight of your sixth chakra. You're able to use your third eye, you're able to focus, and you're able to expand at the same time. But a little bit of a difference with the sixth chakra, where you're using your intuition, you're using your psychic ability, your psychic sight. You can literally, people who are really good at it can look behind and they can get just as much detail behind them as they do on the sides and they do in the front. So I want to share with you what I learned from a horse that taught me this lesson that on some level I think I knew, but when I worked with this horse, it really seeded that experience, and I have never forgotten it. And I know sharing with you is going to be really helpful. So I was assigned a horse, a very sweet horse. It's been years ago, can't remember its name. And so I was guided to walk with this horse, and I could just hold the lead and walk with the horse around the track. Now, for those of you who work a lot with horses and you think they're quite lovely, I have to tell you, I was pretty terrified. I mean, they're big. They are big animals. And it's hard for me to think of them as prey animals. It's like they're, because they're just so big. So anyway, I learned a lot of just walking around the arena, just kind of holding its lead very loosely as it walked along. And I was trying to get used to its energy, and it was trying to get used to my energy, and I was trying to release a lot of fear. So it went around a few times. Well, then in the next exercise, the trainer put an orange cone way at the other end of the arena. Now this time, so we've got the horse has kind of gotten used to walking with me. So this time I'm supposed to get the horse to walk with me without touching their lead. I'm supposed to get the horse to want to walk with me. So here I am focused on this orange cone. It was my job was to focus, hard eyes, focus, Focus on that orange cone, really focus on that orange cone. And at the same time, you're going to walk in such a way that the horse is going to want to follow you. So as I was focused, I started to take a step, another step. I'm really focused on that orange cone. I'm trying to take another and another and another. And I finally realized, it took me a while because I was so overly focused on that cone that I didn't realize that the horse was still back where we began. So I stopped and then I came back again. And then the instructor said, now this time, I want you to see the cone, but I want you to use soft eyes. So I want you to see the cone, but I want you to see everything around the cone. I want you to be able to see everything, but I want you to still focus moving forward, and but have the soft eyes, have the gentle eyes as you walk in a very relaxed way. And so I tried it. I really relaxed into it. As I started walking, guess what? The horse started walking with me. So I tried it a couple more times. If I really was overly focused and I was just like analysis paralysis and I've just in this contracted state, well, nobody's going to want to hang out with you, and especially that horse. But the moment that I softened the gaze, the horse was just going to follow me anywhere. And so basically what this particular workshop is about, it teaches leadership, because we've had leaders, we've had bosses, we've had managers that, kind of rule with a iron fist. But what this really taught me was, no, I don't have to lead that way. I can lead by just being softly focused along the way. So I learned a lot in working with the horse that way. And I will say that there are a lot of people that teach these workshops, at least all over the United States, I think all over Canada, probably all over the world. So I invite you to, do a little search on it. So then I was really thinking about soldiers. And what do soldiers do when they're in an environment that can be quite unsafe for them? So I actually went and looked it up, and I know that Spirit's the one that nudged me, because I wouldn't have thought about this on my own. But what I was reading about was when a soldier is kind of scanning the environment, maybe they're on guard duty that night while the other soldiers are sleeping. Their job is to look very softly, and they're just going to scan the horizon. They're not going to overly hard focus on one thing. They're going to scan the horizon all the way, and then they're going to slowly scan back, and they just scan and scan and scan and scan until they sense movement. And then when they sense movement, they will do a focus on the area. Have you ever done that where it's like, I think I just saw something over there. Did you see something over there? And so it's like everybody looks and then it disappears. So what it is the soldiers will kind of look, but not overly look. But then they're taught to close their eyes to cut out the light, then open their eyes to bring in the light to help them soften their gaze again. They either go back to scanning very lightly, or they'll scan back and forth over the area where they may have sensed some movement. And that's how they keep themselves safe. And that's how they keep also from getting fatigued from constantly kind of being on guard to look and sense for danger. Now, from a clairvoyant, psychic, intuitive perspective, one of the things that I always work with and teach my students is about looking at, so sometimes you'll be, okay, let me back up and become very clear. Let me get really clear here. Many of you have had an experience at least once in your life where you were walking in a direction, or you were standing there and you caught something out of the corner of your eye, you turned to look at it, and there was nothing there. All right? You've seen something. Look, there's nothing there. So what happens is you can see spirits next to you. Spirits are literally standing there in the room. But then when you turn to look at them with hard eyes, so remember, you've got your soft eyes, you've got your peripheral vision here. You can see them from the side, but when you go to look directly at them with the hard eyes, then they disappear because you're not able to see the full light of them. So I remember when this first happened to me, I asked the spirit world, why do you keep showing up on the side? And they said, well, think about it, Nancy. If you were just sitting there and we just came right up from the front and stood in front of you, what do you think would happen? I said, well, I would probably get up and run away. I mean, this was early on. And they were saying exactly. So when we're working with people, we want them to start getting used to feeling, sensing, seeing, hearing, knowing spirits are around. We will remain in the background or we will remain in the periphery. And so when someone turns to look at us, we don't disappear. We are still there, but the human's gaze has hardened. So you want to keep it soft. So if you're sensing there's a spirit there, then all you would do is you would just stay that soft focus, just like the soldiers that are going to softly focus, softly scan. You're going to gently, 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 just keep holding that light focus to turn and see if you can sense. One of the biggest questions that I am asked a lot is, can you teach me to see auras? And so when it comes to seeing auras, that's exactly it. If you're looking, I mean, one of the easiest ways is to have someone stand up against a solid white wall. That's a really great way to start. And then if you're staring, like you're just really looking and it's like you're trying to see the aura around, you're just not going to see anything. You are over staring. You are over thinking. You are over trying to get it. Analysis paralysis. So what you want to do is you want to just pretend like you're daydreaming. It's like, I'm just daydreaming, like relax your mind, relax your body, relax your eyes, and then just kind of scan back and forth, kind of looking over the head, looking from shoulder to shoulder, maybe, but just scan and see if you can pick up a sense. Often it will appear white, even if it's blue, purple, green, orange, red, yellow, silver, gold. To the clairvoyant eye, it's always going to look white, and that's a great start. So don't get disappointed in that. Just to kind of look at the aura, and then I usually will tune in and say, what color is their aura, and my spirit will give me that knowingness. So as I finish up this video about hard eyes and soft eyes, you've got a lot you can do to help you to practice this over and over and over again. It takes practice, but it is human nature to stare down problems. I want you to hear that again. It is human nature to stare down our problems with enormous determination that we're going to solve it no matter what. And when you stare down the person causing the problem, that can also be something that we do. We're going to glare at that person that we perceive, or maybe they truly are creating problems. We can again fall into that analysis paralysis where you end up losing your peripheral vision. So now that you've heard this, you can't unhear it. So I look forward. I want you all in your action step to go out and practice staring at something hard and then visualizing something in a soft manner, and then come back and write in the comment section what you think is, what are the contrasts between the two? Because I think we learn really well when we have contrast. So I do want to say that, that sometimes I hear from some of you and you're like, I don't agree with you. I don't see it that way. I'm not quite sure you're right. And I just want to say that I'm drawing these conclusions from my experiences, but also from reading the human energy field and teaching students for 25 years and really viewing their responses. But I want you to hear this one thing. Only you have your answers. I don't have your answers. Your husband or wife doesn't have your answers. Your best friend doesn't have your answers. The head of your church doesn't have your answers. Now, everyone can offer guidance, and you can take that into consideration, but ultimately you must always get the final say. So please remember, any of you who are watching, it is not me versus you in regards to who's right or wrong. We definitely can all be right, because the world is changing so quickly. By the time this comes around next year, it's probably not even going to be on our scale of awareness. We're going to be off and running on many, many other things. Now, I will invite you to take a look at the narrative below. I've got my intuitive style quiz. If you've never taken that before and you kind of want to know what your intuitive style is, we're doing an enormous activity around the blue light of truth and dissolving lies. And then I'll have some event that's coming up in the link below too. So you can take a look at that as well. All right, everyone, take care. Have fun playing, a lot of playing with hard eyes and soft eyes. And thank you for all the horse teachers that have taught that particular technique that has really helped expand many, many people's lives. So, all right. And thank you to all the horses in the world. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.